this. And what we see is no offense coming to fruition because Cam is actually a pocket quarterback. Who knew? Oh my goodness.
Every busting through at the 30, 35, 40. Quick race down the right side. Here he goes at the 50, 40 to the Miami 30, 20 at the 10. A swipe with the ankles. They can't get him. Touchdown, Christian McCaffrey.
They can't get him. They can't get him.
They can't get him. But you can catch us, the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions. Boy, I'm excited because tonight we get to talk about men in underwear. Combine the underwear Olympics with hopes and dreams. And you have the C3 Panthers podcast episode 19.5 here with Cody Lashney to chop up franchise tags, the combine, all our hopes and dreams. Cody, are you hopeful, my friend?
I'm hopeful, man. Nothing gets my gears going like muscled up men, young men in their underwear running 40-yard dashes, baby. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk some football with my family in the YouTube chat. Tony Dunn, I know Joe Riolano, that freaking Puerto Rican, will be joining us later on in the show. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, man. Let's get it.
Big shout out to the fans in the YouTube chat. Underground West, Brad, Tin Tizzy. I know Tin Tizzy. No, he's back behind the scenes, seeing how the sausage is made back there. Chris Cole, man, guys, we are so happy to have a good chat room here, driving the discussion. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the show. If you're listening on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, whatever you listen to on your podcast. Go ahead and rate, review, subscribe, tell one friend about the show. It really makes a big difference. We have been doing some big numbers in the offseason. It shows how Carolina Panther fans are excited about this upcoming season and really how great of a fan base you are, and we are. We're glad to have you along for the ride. Look, tonight is a lot of talk about the combine, obviously, but Cody, news flying off the presses today. The franchise tag, the last opportunity teams had to keep a player that they knew they could not afford. And I think the franchise tag has been developed in a way that was meant to give teams who are going to lose a player an opportunity for a couple more months to negotiate with them and potentially reach an agreement. Maybe if those negotiations spilled into another season, that they would be able to do something. But right now, the franchise tag is turned into a thing is like this is, hey, we're just going to keep an elite player for one more year and then let him walk. There were a lot of signings today, but the news, I think, is the Patriots against that grain, saying they will not franchise tag anybody.
I don't know how they do this, man. The Patriots, they're in the Super Bowl every damn year, and they just let their premium talent walk out the door. We've previewed Trey Flowers and Trent Brown on this very show as potential free agent pickups for the Panthers. I mean, listen, man, this is huge news. The Panthers right now have around $17 million in salary cap money right now, which isn't a ton of money, but it's at least something to sign one power player in the offseason. And, man, if Trey Flowers doesn't just fit us perfect, man, I don't know who does, man. Either him or Trent Brown would be huge additions to this football team right now, put us in a position to not have to reach for a specific player at a certain position in the draft. This would be huge, man. It would be absolutely huge. Leave it to the Patriots, man. Dude, Belichick is swimming in compensatory draft picks, man. Swimming in them, dude. I don't know how they do it.
Well, I think this might be the year that it's the mistake for the Patriots. The Patriots have gotten away with this because of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick together.
Yeah.
That's really how they've gotten away with this. Now, Tom Brady is really showed the signs of age. I mean, look, is that he is not the Tom Brady that he has been. It's just that simple. He is not that guy that we know. And what I mean by that too is that maybe makes the importance. He's always had a good line. So
Yeah,
you
always.
cannot take away the something that you always gave him in the moment that he's starting to diminish. So I think that the Brown kid is the way that I think that's the mistake. He's 26 years old. He's played at an elite level, or I think he's 26. He's younger, right?
Yeah.
I think that he is a monster. I think that's the mistake. I think I understand the other ways they've always said, hey, let's not let one guy sink the ship on a contract. But they have extended some guys in the past. I am really shocked that they didn't go one more year with the left tackle, Tom Brady, in his final season, and then blow it up. But their misfortune, their mistake, that would be a giant acquisition for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, absolutely huge, man. And I'm not okay. I know you said roll with Trent Brown for another year. They drafted Isaiah Wynn with their first pick last year. He missed all of this past season to an ACL injury. So I can understand if they feel, yeah, we have a young player that's going to fill in at that spot. But, man, Trey Flowers just baffles me, man. He was far and away the best defensive lineman on their team, their most consistent pass rusher. They even put double teams on him sometime. I mean, the dude was just a baller. They must feel confident enough that they're going to grab someone else in the draft, or I don't know. I honestly don't know what they're doing. A lot of teams are going to be in the market for Trey, and I hope that we're one of them. I know there's a few players that we'll talk about that are in play for Carolina, or at least that we hope are in play for Carolina. But Trey Flowers, that's my man, dude. That's my dream pickup right now.
All right. So the Patriots are teasing us with two giant players. Look, you will hear Panther fans say, we can't afford this. We can't afford this. We don't have any cap space. We don't have any cap space. They are, you know what? There's every year teams with no cap space find a way to get players. And yeah. I would argue this with $17 million. Look, you saw what signing Eric Reed did to the cap. It took it from about 24, I think, to 17.
Yeah, about 24 to 17. And I think
so that is sizable. So let's just say this is you could sign the Brown kid. You could sign him and you could structure the contract to where the first year was slightly easy on the salary part. They divide up the guaranteed money evenly. So say you signed him to a 5-year deal and you gave him a bunch of money even, and you had to say allocate $10 million this year to it. You could make it so that the salary part kind of catches up a little bit later, particularly when Matt Khalil's contract comes off the books next year. So it's doable, but it's not going to be easy on the cap, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it won't be easy at all, and that's part of the reason why I'm concerned. Marty Herney has never been a money man GM that you can kind of trust all of your financials to. I mean, that's why he was fired the first time around. I mean, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman, and they're always making moves, man. It seems like they never have money, and they're always bringing in players. I feel the Saints do this too. The Saints never have any money, and that they're always kind of bringing in people here and there. So, yeah, you just have to be a crafty general manager, and you have to be able to maneuver around and, do some re-signing on some contracts, move around some money here and there. I don't know if Marty Herney is the type of general manager to do that. I'm hoping that he is, or that we at least have someone that knows how to do that in the building. But I don't know, man. We'll see how it pans out. There's a few different players that help us right now that are out there.
Let me tell you, folks, right now there's some chat in the room. Ken D, I know who you are, brother. I know who you are, Ken D. Says, look, is we don't have the room for Flowers and the rookies. I don't think the rookies take up as much space as we need, as we think. For some reason, I feel like this. I'm not 100% sure. When they tell us that cap room number, they've already thought about the rookie number because you have to have that amount of money allocated. Like, it's impossible to not have that. The other thing I saw somebody say is that I wish we could cut Poe. It's not happening. Don't worry. Poe is going to be a good player for us next year. I promise you this, is that we can't cut Poe and make any money and get a better player at this point. What I do think we can do is this, and I think we're underestimating this, guys, is where Marty Herney is in his tenure with the Carolina Panthers, where Ron Rivera is at this moment, and how warm the seats they are sitting in are. And because both of those people are really, Herney and Rivera are on their last year. This is very simple. It's either boom, it's either take home the prize or both of you are gone. I promise you that. And if Rivera survives, it will be the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. But there's no way Herney survives a bad season after this year. And I believe because of that, Herney will not play it safe. He's going to make a splash. It might not be the biggest player in free agency, but my thoughts are that the Panthers will be more active. They will get one guy that is a bigger name than we expected. That's my thoughts on that.
I wish I shared your optimism, dude. I really wish I did. I mean, listen, I'm genuinely an optimistic guy on a lot of things, man. I don't know. Until I see otherwise, I just don't know that I trust this regime, man. Even when I see some of the players that we met with at the Combine, we still have room to meet more players, have official visits, have them come to Charlotte. But even when I look at some of the players that we met with, it's like, I don't know. How'd you miss on not talking to this person and this person? Some primary players that could benefit our team right now. I don't know, man. I have a doubt in my mind about Ron Rivera and Marty Herney's ability to evaluate talent to a certain degree. I don't know, man. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that you're right on this. I hope that I'm proven to be wrong on
if you knew that your
I just don't trust someone.
If you knew your position was on the line, what is the incentive in playing the long game? What is the incentive in playing for building long-term success? If I'm a GM that wants to live one more year, I'm only as good as the team I field this year. Screw it. Let's go ahead and play like we are playing to win, even if it's not the right move. That's my thought. If I'm Marty Herney there, is I can't sit back and just say to Tepper that give me 5 years and things are going to be all right. You have to make at least some visual moves for a new owner. Maybe that's bringing in offensive linemen. Maybe that's signing someone bigger in free agency than expected and then pushing your chips on 3 linemen in a row. If I was Herney, that's what I would do. I would go get Trey Flowers and then I would draft 3 offensive linemen back to back and say,
I'm not mad.
This is what we're trying to do. That's what I would do if I was Herney. But what I'm asking every single person is, why would Herney play it conservative this year if his job is 100% on the line? It doesn't make any sense to me. Protect Cam Newton. Push all in. I don't even think it makes sense to draft for the future and go and get a quarterback. I would not draft a backup quarterback. I would say that's the next GM's fucking problem.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Well, I mean, also, I feel like it's not necessarily that you're wrong that Marty Hurney would do that. I don't know that they're the guys to pick the right players, man. I don't know. Listen, I'm trying to be optimistic.
He's been picking people all damn day. His problem is he signed people to you know what? Marty Hurney has been actually a good GM for the Carolina Panthers. He got pressured by Jerry Richardson to sign his boys. Jerry Richardson forced him to pay both D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart. He did miss. He had a bad 08, 09, 10, that era. He was bad at drafting. He had some mistakes there. But overall, he has been a pretty darn good GM. And arguably, look, he had a good year on short notice for the Panthers last year. So if he can come in there and draft right now and bring us some players, what he has not done is take an aggressive a step in free agency ever in his career that we know of. That has not been what he's been able to do. But I think the hot seat's there. I think you got to do that. And to show that maybe Marty Hurney is growing, look, Devin Funchess has said that he will not be a Panther anymore. And Kuntz, if you follow, what's Kuntz on Twitter? Kuntz is, I'll look up his Twitter handle. He's amazing. He always funny on Twitter. He always likes to troll people and be like, breaking news, Panthers signed Funchess to 5-year deal, right? But Devin Funchess has announced that he will not be a Carolina Panther, and that only supports good decision-making going forward. Devin Funchess, not a Panther. Everyone is not shocked.
No one's shocked at all. And, you know, I love the move because I want Curtis Samuel to have more of a role on this team. And I feel when you don't have a Devin Funchess on the team, that leaves a position for Curtis Samuel to be able to step up and fill, maybe drafting a player that's, you know, another big body receiver. You can bring someone in to do that. I mean, yeah, Devin Funchess had a bad year. This was his year to prove that he was worth a brand new contract for the Carolina Panthers. And he went to his hometown of Detroit and just bombed it, man, just dropping passes left and right. It just wasn't a good move, you know? So, Josh from Mass says we're done funching around.
Thank God. And I think, though, Funch's lack of success is less of a referendum on Funchess and more a referendum on Dave Gettleman. Honestly, we traded up. I'm still mad about that. We traded up for Funchess. We gave a 3rd and a 6th for him. And then we gave him the keys to the car the whole time. It wasn't that Funchess that I wanted to cheer against the guy. It's just we did give a lot for him. The time is done. He's been a less successful player than Brandon LaFell was, who, by the way, was drafted by Marty Hurney. So if you want to talk about second-round receivers, similar body types, Brandon LaFell had a better career than Devin Funchess, cost less. Marty Hurney beats Dave Gettleman again there. That's my hot take right there. So we've got those. That's the news. Now, look, more franchise tag news. The Kansas City Chiefs franchise tagged D Ford, a guy that we've previewed on the show, Cody, that you believe could be a good, maybe a addition to this Panthers team in need of a pass rush. The thoughts out there are that the Kansas City Chiefs don't necessarily want to keep D Ford. They have a lot of problems. They have a defense that isn't that good. They've got a decent defensive line. They've got Justin Houston, who's aging and who has a giant contract. They've got to shed some money on defense. Some thoughts that D Ford could be traded.
Yeah, so apparently the Kansas City Chiefs are shopping around D Ford. They don't mind having him on the roster for another year, but the Chiefs are the trade market is open, and they're wanting to see what they might be able to get for him, and that's another player that we have previewed on this very show. And I am of the mindset that D Ford will play in whatever front you want him to, an even front or an odd front. They want him probably to go to a 3-4 team. But I think if you're looking at us, he has a history playing with his hand in the dirt when he was back at Auburn. He was a great pass rusher there. He just started to turn it on late in his career, kick the tires on D Ford, and you can put him in a 3-4 front. I like that move for us. It'd be worth a second-round pick. That's what they're saying. It would be worth. So it's basically it would fill a need for us right now to put him on the team. That way, you're not having to rush and fill in for a defensive lineman sometime in the draft, or maybe it puts you in a position to grab one in the later rounds. I do think D Ford would help us out a lot. What do you think?
All right. So, well, I don't know. Is that I've wondered if D Ford was, because he's a smaller guy, right? I feel like he's thinner. Like he's probably like 260.
Shorter, yeah. But that's what a defensive end is. Like they're around that.
Nah, man. I think in a 4-3, we need a bigger guy that can swim and move fast. I think that maybe. Look, is that we have
265 to 275 is normally around the defensive end.
All right, is he there? But we need to look it up if he's there. I would not like. Here's my idea: is I'm a little concerned about pairing two. We already got Mario Addison, and we need him for another year. We need him to play another year, whether or not we're not benching him. We are. If we won't bench fucking Mini Silatulu. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are not benching Mario Addison. Not that he's a bad player, but we need someone better than Mario Addison. That's my point. So I do think that I would like to pair somebody who is a little bit bigger than what I think D Ford is. I could be wrong. Now, I think he would cost a little bit more coming off of the successful season he had than he may be worth slightly. Now, some names floating around there in the chat room right now. Robert Quinn. That's a realistic option right there, I think. You might be able to get a player who is pretty good, to be honest. That might not be that. Look, D Ford has not proven he's much better than Robert Quinn, to be honest.
I mean, maybe not much. I think D Ford
has only had this year. He has only had 1 year. He's been hurt the whole time.
Yeah, but does Robert Quinn strike fear into your heart? I mean, not mine.
I don't think D Ford does either.
Yeah, I mean, and these are the semantics that you have to go back and forth with. I mean, who's more worth it?
But the money difference is what I'm saying is this: I think D Ford will cost significantly more than Robert Quinn. That's what I think. And I don't know if his play is guaranteed to be significantly better. Like, I wouldn't mind if we got Robert Quinn and then went heavy on defensive end in the draft and said you're a 1-year stopgap. That type of idea. Now, the other option too is, what about the kid? Is it Fowler?
Fowler, yeah, from
that went from Jacksonville to
Fowler. Yeah. He went to the Rams.
Now, there's another player.
Well, he's another undersized guy. He's even smaller. He's like 250.
Is it all right? How much does D Ford weigh? I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I want to say he's like 6'2", 260 or 265 or something like that. And
he's then there's 243. He's listed at 243.
Who, Fowler or Ford?
Ford.
I mean, and listen, this is another thing. People on Twitter
he's 6'2". Oh, all right. Here's 6'2", 252. See, that's too skinny for us. Too little for
I don't
us.
know, man. Mario Addison isn't a big pass rusher, and I can say that he's been our most consistent edge presence that we've had in a while.
We can't have two of those guys. We can't duplicate that weakness and strength.
I mean, to me, it's all about the talent, man. If you're able to do what we're asking you to do, I have no problem with it. It's do they fit? I don't know, man. I don't trust Google. They're saying Dante Fowler is 267 pounds. That makes no sense.
Telling you,
I don't know about any of those numbers.
I'll look it up right here. Here's Pro Football Reference, which I do think they're pretty good. They're just like an aggregator. Fowler. So they say that D Ford is 252. How do you spell Dante?
It is Dante. Dante Fowler Jr. Dante. Yep.
I would have thought it was.
Dante.
They have him listed as all right. So that he's listed as 255, 6'3", 255 on Pro Football Reference.
Yeah, it's all about your pass rush ability. I mean, just because
they're like both the same guy.
They're around the same. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So either way, though, I think that, and like Joey has pointed out in the chat room, Joe Riolano, that freaking Puerto Rican, wish we could hear from you. But if we can't, we understand, brother. The idea here is he said, look, is that Robert Quinn may be a sort of homecoming. He's from the Charlotte area. I mean, from the Charleston area. Interesting tidbit there.
I did not know that. I mean, I'm less in favor of homecomings and more in favor of whooping some ass. So whoever does that the most,
whatever, you love Clemson. You want every Clemson player to be drafted by the Carolina Panthers. You're a homer.
No, I don't want Vic Beasley from the Falcons. If he was on the market, I wouldn't want him on the team. I don't think he's a consistent pass rusher, man. I just want badasses, man. I don't think that's too much to ask for, dude. I want badasses. I want a dominant pass rush that we had in 2013. Whoever does that, that's the dude I'm all in on. If that's Robert Quinn, sign me up. But I don't know.
All right, Cody, go ahead and refresh your browser. You're breaking up a little bit right now. We're going to move on now to another Panther-related subject, inadvertently related to the Carolina Panthers. But David Gettleman today announced that Landon Collins, a 3-time Pro Bowler at safety, strong safety position, that they wouldn't. He's entering the 5th year of his deal, or in the 5th year of his deal. They will not franchise tag Landon Collins, a safety that Mel Mayock back in the day truly wanted to pick. Man, he was banging the desk for the Carolina Panthers to pick him. And then I think we picked Kelvin Benjamin that year. I believe that was the case.
Yeah, I believe so.
So Landon Collins hits the free safety market, or not the free safety, the safety market. Criticized a little bit for his coverage skills and that he is more of a box safety, I guess, or he's just a strong safety. Been very productive. A defense that doesn't yet have an identity, it seems like, in New York. And Dave Gettleman is letting the big name walk. He says, hey, every now and then you got to let a big dog walk. Remember when he said that when he was here with the Carolina Panthers? Yeah. He does that for Landon Collins, and zero surprise here. Zero surprise is that he probably thinks, and you know what? He might be right a little bit. Unless you are just a crazy freak, awesome, strong safety, are you truly irreplaceable?
Well, yeah, I don't, and it's not surprising to me that it's another defensive back. He did the same thing with Josh Norman when Josh Norman was here. Now he's doing the same thing to a safety. I do think
he brought in Roman Harper. Roman Harper. Look, we had Roman Harper. Then we had Kurt Coleman. We've had discount safeties.
Yeah.
The safety has never been a position that the Carolina Panthers have invested, and David Gettleman certainly didn't.
No, and he still isn't. I'm not, and as you kind of alluded to, I kind of understand that they have so many needs on other parts of the team, the offensive line, the defensive line. You might be able to say, well, do they really want to pay all that money for a safety right now? I mean, they haven't been that great with him, so maybe that isn't the best player for them right now. At the same time, that's probably their only real dog on the defense, their only real dependable defensive player as of right now, and they just let him out the door. I mean, I would love to have Landon, but do you honestly think that we're going to sign Landon Collins after just paying?
Oh no, I don't think he fits with our team at all. No, if we didn't have Eric Reed, then sure, then I would say, hey, could be something. Dundutta reminds this is it was the Shaq Thompson draft that we picked Landon Collins, and a lot of questions right there. We're paying Shaq Thompson $9 million this year. He's never played more than 40% of the snaps on defense. Not all of his fault, but I know I understand what Dave Gettleman's doing here. I get it.
Yeah,
and look, it sucks for Landon Collins. But look, he's letting Landon Collins walk into a free agent market that has Earl Thomas, who is better, right? It's like Ken D says you can't replace Earl Thomas, right? And yeah, he is that one freak. That's the one player. It's kind of like the Honey Badger. Though him and the Honey Badger are like these two phenoms. The Honey Badger, though, is on. Look, you got Earl Thomas, you got the Honey Badger. There's a safety market that's going crazy. If you franchise tag Landon Collins, you're paying a lot of money for him. Yes, you get him, but you're paying an average right there. Dave Gettleman's going to go to the Dollar Tree and buy Kurt Coleman. You know what? Dave Gettleman's about to go get Kurt Coleman, who just got cut from the Saints.
Probably. Yeah, that's a good move. Or not necessarily a good move, but that's a David Gettleman move. He likes to shop at the dollar store when it comes to defensive backs. And he always there used to be those Gettleman-isms that he would talk about when it comes to the draft. Never shop hungry, and that's exactly what we did after we got rid of Josh Norman, drafting 3 cornerbacks.
He shopped hungry.
I know. Yeah,
and I love going to the grocery store and shopping hungry. It is the most wonderful experience you ever get. Look, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Man, the conversation in the YouTube chat room is phenomenal. There are over 40 people watching right now, which is amazing on Tuesday night in the off season. Guys, 22 thumbs up right now. So turn your phones to portrait mode. Smash the thumbs up button. If you're listening on Facebook, Periscope, just share the show with one friend. Every Tuesday night, we get up here and we try to hang out and talk Carolina Panthers football like it would be. My goal is to replicate a conversation of us in a car, riding to a game, shooting the shit about the latest Panthers news. And right now, Cody, while we've been looking at all of these discussions about particularly say these defensive ends, somebody in the chat room said this, and I think it's like y'all throwing contracts out like crazy, right? And every time it does sound like heroes. We want to sign. When you message Joey in the chat, and we just have a text message group going. Yeah. And you messaged Joey and you said, hey, they're not tagging Brown or Flowers. Joey said, get them both. Right? That's what we want, and that's what we need. It may not be realistic. We understand that. But looking at this, as Joey brought up this in our discussion, the need for a center. And now that Ryan Khalil has retired, we are really putting all of our eggs in the basket of Larson, right? Now, the question is, do you go and do you get a potential free agent, John Sullivan from the Rams? He is older, hasn't missed any games in 2 years, that is Mr. Reliable, supposedly noted as the smart man on the field. Do you go after that? Do you spend some money? I think Paradise, the guy from Denver, is another option. Cody, while we focus on the tackles, where do we think in regards to the center?
None of the above, man. We're going to draft a hometown talent, and his name is Garrett Bradbury. He is a center out of NC State, man, and I love him. He ran a sub 540 at over 300 pounds. Come on, that dude is a beast, man. If you watch his film, he is a mover, and I'll show you right here just how movable he is, man. He's the type of guy that reaches up to the next level. Thinking about Christian McCaffrey running behind him would be a dream. I mean, they're saying he is the best center in the draft. Really I mean, the dude can absolutely
this tape right here. This is the tape I like.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Garrett Bradbury is a mover. When he went up against Mike Slimson defensive line, which was the most vaunted defensive line in all of college football, he did well, man. He did very well. I mean, he was by far the best player on that offensive line by a mile. Garrett Bradbury is the man, and he's been shooting up draft boards. They're even saying that he might have moved himself into the first round. So, I mean, some people might feel that it's a bit rich for a center, but that might be our first round pick right there. You really don't know. It would definitely upgrade our interior dramatically after we just moved on from Ryan Khalil, man.
Carolina Panthers Twitter would have a meltdown if we pick a center or guard in the first round. They would have a heart attack. They would have a stroke. And while in the immediate moment it would feel like that, it may be more wonderful than you think. You know what I'm saying?
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
We don't want to bitch and complain about, well, we could have gotten this guy at 27. We could have got him at 19. Well, you know what? We got him at 16, and he was awesome for 9 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we need, and it's not sexy. It's not insanely over the top, but boy, would it make a difference. The question is it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the question is. Joe Riolano.
I know what the question is. What does Joe Riolano think about this subject?
What's up, guys? I think my only hesitation with bringing in a rookie is the amount of responsibility he's going to have to shoulder right off the rip with the offensive line calls and, just knowing the defensive fronts and being able to make the right reads. That's tough. I know.
Joey, could he, and maybe Cody needs to jump in this too, could he start at left guard? And then move and have basically where you start Moten, Turner, Larson at center, the new kid at guard, and then whoever you're putting on left tackle, we don't know yet. But and then with the idea of next year being the starting center.
Maybe so. I just feel that Bradbury is such a good center that even though he might be able to play at the guard position, it would almost kind of be a waste of talent to play him somewhere other than center, just because he is so good at it. And part of what the center has to be able to do is call out protections and be able to pinpoint things or where the linebackers are. And, there's a different skill set involved in playing a center that you don't see from other positions on the line. And if you have a player that's damn good at doing that, well, then let him do that. Tyler Larson might be all right for the team right now, but he's not a first-round draft pick.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the potential that Bradbury does.
But what Joey is bringing into the question is an experience thing, not whether he can or can't do it.
That's why that's why I was thinking, let's bring in a young free agent, somebody who's been in the trenches, who has started for 2 or 3 or 4 years. And
there's only one name on the list, Joe.
Not saying to not draft a center, but let's maybe do it later, not in the first round. That's all I was thinking.
And
if that's the case, though, if that's what you do, you have to. You're gonna get Matt Paradise or Paradise. I hope it is. 28 from the Broncos. He's 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to bring in tremendous money. The other names are Mitch Morse from the Chiefs, John Halapio from the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
There are BJ Finney from the Steelers. For me, I have some concerns about some of these guys. Are they that good? In some ways, coming from really bad offensive lines, you got to worry about how much. I would just wonder how much money you've got to spend. John Sullivan is another name from the Los Angeles Rams, who they will not be extending the contract. But I do believe Joey's got an excellent point here, is that while a center would be a lifetime investment, are we ready to make the short-term investment? And like I've been bringing up this whole podcast, is Marty Herney willing to bet his career on a long-term investment?
I mean, why not? I mean, you said it earlier. it kind of has to, right? I mean, if we're all under the mindset that, hey, him and Ron have one more year to figure this shit out before Tepper gives them their walking papers.
Can't draft a center. Can't draft a center.
I don't know, man. Listen, it's so played out, but honestly, you really do sometimes have to go BPA, and that's best player available. I mean, you made the point. If okay, let's say you drafted Bradbury, and he's our center for the next 10 years. I mean, is that a wasted pick? I mean, that doesn't seem like one. That doesn't seem like one to me. I mean, and it's
not wasted, but do you find that you get the return? Do you get the return immediately? How about this? Let's ask this question. Jonah Williams and Bradbury, they're both on the board. What do you do?
Oh, Lord.
You have to go tackle, I think.
You think so, Joe?
I think so.
You should find someone who gets excited about you the way Joe Thomas gets excited about Jonah Williams.
Kick slide. The Holy Grail.
Got a nice stance. Oh, beautiful. I'll get excited.
I love Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is so awesome. Listen, Jonah Williams, he's my favorite player as an offensive tackle in the draft. And everyone's saying, hey, you move him inside the guard. We have a position of need there as well. I do not trust Van Roten as our starting left guard going into next year. I don't know that anyone does, but listen, man, the dude is a left tackle. Let him play left tackle. He was the best left tackle in football. Everyone's trying to talk about, oh, his arms are too short or they're this and that. Dude, his arms are the same size as a Joe Thomas, a Taylor Lewan, a Joe Staley for the 49ers. I mean, it's a non-issue, man. Jonah is an awesome player. And another comparison that they were making was to Joe Thomas himself. And it's not a bad comparison when you look at their film and their body type and what they do.
Dude, if we can find a left tackle that is anything,
looks very similar. But look at this passer right here. Look at the anchor right here. The hands inside. Right, good technique right there. So I call it clinic work. But let's look at JT over here. Right, bringing sexy back. Right, maybe a little bit of a chip, maybe just some presence.
But look at that, nearly identical, man. But if Joe Thomas ended up being our, or if Jonah Williams ended up being our Joe Thomas, come on, man. It just seems to me every year it's always a speed rusher, an edge rusher off the edge that blows up Cam Newton, that gives him the biggest hit of the season. And it's always an edge rusher that does it. So to have a career left tackle next to Cam Newton, I mean, that's what I want the most.
You can't put a value on that. I believe if you have a chance to get a guy that could be anything like Joe Thomas was, you take him, because that is one you can. Like a crock pot, you can set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
And you know you're good for 10 years at least.
That is the line of the night, and I think Joe's right here. And one thing I saw is my question to you is, would you rather have the best tackle in the draft or the third best pass rusher? You know, and that's what I think we're at 16, is that because everybody else is grabbing defensive ends, does that necessarily mean that this guy isn't the best tackle? You know, I mean, and that's hard to quantify. I understand, but set it and forget it.
It kind of depends on how good that third best defensive end in the draft is. So a player this weekend that garnered a lot of attention was a guy that a lot of mock drafts have us picking up. Even I've picked him up with Draft Tech before. Is Montez Sweat at 260 pounds? The man ran a 4.42. That is
that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Flying.
That's what Odell Beckham Jr. It's faster than Odell Beckham Jr.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think there's something weird going on here. But do you think? Let me ask you this, Cody. Can you be overawed by that 40? And look, is that Sweat was a realistic? He was realistic to us at 16. I heard Bucky Brooks on Move the Sticks podcast before the combine happened. Daniel Jeremiah said this. He said there is a chance that Sweat runs a 4.4. And he says if he does that, put him in Penn in the top 10. I don't know. I think that 4 whatever he ran, that's faster than he's as fast as Julio fucking Jones, bro.
Yeah, man.
And what is that? I almost want to say this. Can we move you to tight end?
Listen,
I don't know. We need to play both sides of the ball. I don't know what to do. That's too fast. I don't understand these numbers.
But this is what I'll say though. To Montez Sweat's credit, is he the most agile? So yeah, moving in a straight line, the dude's a baller. And he's also really, really strong. And I've even shown his highlights from the combine. Not from the combine, from the Senior Bowl. And he was very, very good at the Senior Bowl, too. To his credit, the man had over 10 sacks in the SEC. Okay, now everyone pretty much says that the SEC is the best conference in all of college football. So all of his production came against the best offensive line talent that college football pretty much has to offer. I do think there's a lot of upside to him. I'm kind of with Tony in that he might not be the player that you want him to be year one, but over the long term, yeah, there is a lot of upside on Montez Sweat, and he really is a player that could ultimately end up being a very good player for us.
Those numbers are Julius Peppers numbers, Joey.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, what do you do when you have a player like that? How can he not be top 10? Is what I'm saying. I don't even understand.
Too much potential there for him to not be. You know, what you see on film, and then when you see what he did at the combine, somebody in the top 10 needs some help on the defense, and he's going to seem like an answer. So he will be gone.
Question to you. If Sweat is there, Jonah Williams is there, Joe, where do you go?
I'm going offensive tackle all day.
Wow, Cody. Cut from the same cloth. Would you pick Jonah Williams over Sweat now that you've been wowed that he can run as fast as Julio and your mama in a scooter?
I would, man. And listen, I've said it once, I've said it before. 3 quarterbacks damn near died behind this offensive line, man. I'm tired of Cam Newton having to make magic every single play because it doesn't have a pocket to step up in, or there's always, is always having to move around and make plays where there isn't one. Yeah, man, I want to invest premium talent in this offensive line. Now, I do want to put a reminder out there that the draft is more than the first round. Okay, we're gonna have.
No, it's not. I want to put a reminder out there. Look, Cody, hold up. I gotta interrupt you.
All right.
I want to put a reminder out here that the most important round is the first round because we're gonna be here covering it live for like the 7th year. What we do, we have a draft party. And Cody was a part of it. Cody, you were a part of it last year, weren't you?
Yeah, that was my first time on the show, man.
Yeah.
That's my anniversary.
So what we're going to have is a live draft party where we watch, commentate, bring in guests, and react to the first round of the draft. It's a fun time. It's an amazing time. And at the very least, you get to see us for 3 hours. And generally, I drink beer the whole time. So that's a sight in itself. Cody, take over now.
Yeah, by the way, no, I just want to say while you're talking, this is Montez Sweat absolutely bulldozing Titus Howard, who has been getting a lot of praise as a second-round pick and offensive tackle himself, just absolutely just deboing him. So Montez Sweat does have a lot of upside. Just because you're not a bendy athlete doesn't necessarily mean that you're doomed to fail. Cleveland Farrell, which is another guy, he's a Clemson guy, so I know me and Joey would love to have Farrell on our team. But he's another player that would be perfect for us. That isn't necessarily, yeah. And then remember, he sets a physical edge too. So against the run, you're not getting by him because it uses that speed to effectiveness. Yeah, he's a player, man. I would love to have him. For
me, it's been a too often neglected position group on that offensive line. Cam Newton has never had a top shelf offensive line protecting him, and he's done some really amazing things with some really mediocre at best offensive lines. If he could have an offensive line that actually gives him time, I want to see what he can do.
Same here. And you know what, Joey? We know what he can do. Because the best offensive line he had was in 2015, and he was an MVP, man.
Right.
He was an MVP. We know who Cam Newton is. But give him the offensive line. Listen, if you put Cam Newton on the Pittsburgh Steelers with the roster that they've had, come on, dude. It's not even fair at that point. That's what I'm saying. I want to put premium talent around Cam Newton, because then if he has an offensive line and it has a pocket that he's able to step up into, then it really doesn't even matter who his receivers are. And look who we have now. Imagine McCaffrey Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. I mean, now we have the talent around him. Now he just has to have time to distribute the football.
Yeah.
That's why me and Joe are on this offensive line in the first round train, man. I'm all aboard.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. We thank you for your participation in the chat room. Shout out to Brad Dugan, Josh from Mast, Ernest Hoy. We appreciate your support and your conversation. You can be a part of the show by calling into the Cat Calls line. It's open 24/7. You just leave a message. We'll play it on the show. The number is 252-228-5098, where we are trying to continue to nourish this conversation among Panther fans. Guys, let's go ahead and jump into the Cat Calls for this evening before we go further into the combine and what the Carolina Panthers are going to be doing this offseason.
I think that's the wrong one, Tony.
Yep, it is. I'm sitting here trying to make it work. Can you hear it?
Let me check the maybe a little bit louder.
Why is it so quiet?
Hi guys, Richard London. Hi G. Hi Train.
Why is it so quiet? Hold on.
Yeah, I can barely hear him.
Something's going down with. All right, you guys talk to me for a second. Carry the show while I change the settings.
All right, Joe. Since you and I are on this O-line in round one, here's another name that you may have heard of, and we might as well just show him now. This is a guy that's getting a lot of love, and for my money, he's the most athletic offensive tackle in the whole draft. This is a man by the name of Andre Dillard. He is another guy that at 315 pounds ran under 5-second 40. I mean, the dude, under 5 seconds. The dude is a blazer. He's so fast. But I want to show you, man, if you're looking at film, I want to show you something that just knock your socks off, man. Look at the athleticism of Andre kicking back on this kick slide. Look at those feet, man. Moving. No one gets around someone that fast and that athletic. I'll try it. All right, here we go. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. He ran for him, man.
Yeah.
Andre Dillard is a beast. I love Andre Dillard. For my money, he's the most athletic offensive tackle in the draft. He's the best pure pass protector in the draft. Man, Andre Dillard
in the run game.
So that is where they're knocking him, but he wasn't a problem. I mean, he moves so well. He pulls down the field just fine. A lot of people have him as their number one tackle. I mean, listen, for my money, I mean, is there stuff he has to get better on? Sure, I want him to be a little bit stronger. But even then, his film, you never see him beaten by a bull rush. So, I mean, there are things that he has to be better on. But, yeah, for my money, him and Jonah Williams are probably the best pure offensive tackle in the draft. And he might be available right there, right where we pick.
Is he able to get to the second level?
He's so fast, Joe. He is the fastest, maybe one of the fastest offensive linemen I've ever seen come through.
I've heard, guys, that Dillard has the best athletic profile of any of the offensive linemen this year.
By far.
And that is overall the most, so you draft him, he could be a tackle, he could be a guard, he can do anything. So, I mean, he helped his rankings in this combine for a guy that was already high on the list. And Cody, we have more to talk about with the combine to go, but let's see if this works this time.
Catcalling.
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use
one? Hi guys, Richard London. Hi.
What's up, Rich?
Hi, Pete Coltrane. Hi everybody. Hi Tony. Hi Cody. Right, so the athletic testing's over. Yeah, there's a few of them that are freaks at athletic testing. I think you still have to look at the tape. But my God, are there a few extra players now that we really need to look at. Is it one Thornhill, the safety? He's obviously now come in, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Adderley, CGC, Thornhill, and Deontay Thompson. One of them's got to be free in the second round. Dylan's obviously moved way up the draft for the offensive line.
Rich is on it, man.
He's got a bit of a man crush on him. But he looks superb. He has PFF's highest pass blocking grade. So anything other than Matt the Turnstile Khalil has got to be better at left tackle. Lots of rumours going on about Darrell Williams. Got absolutely no idea what's going on there. But we'll wait and see. I think the combine's really helped the Panthers because there's some guys that we probably don't want that will now vault our position of 16 and go ahead. I know Montez Sweat looks like a monster, but the grading isn't there from PFF, but the bend isn't there. He's an absolute straight line power rusher, which might not well work at the next level. Wouldn't be totally upset, but I think there's better. I'd be more on certainly for Brian Burns. And I think Cleveland Farrell, would perhaps suit us better. We need to stay away from Rashawn Gary. Very concerned that the Panthers are looking at Lonnie Johnson. I've heard nothing but he's trash from just about every lot of analysts, just because he's long. So hopefully, I don't think we need a cornerback in the first 2 rounds. It's got to be O-line, tackle, guard, D-line. I mean, the centers were amazing at the combine, both Bradbury and McCoy. I would love to sell our pick at 16 for the Raiders and pick up one of their later firsts, or both of their firsts, or their first and their second, so that they can get a maximum value. This is my fantasy, is that they maximise their value to like 29, jump to 16 and give us 2 picks really close together so we can pick up 3 people really quickly.
That would be amazing. I would just pick up 3 offensive linemen in a row.
I think they're going to start running by our second pick. Look at that. That was a seamless transition. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I don't think we need corners and wide receivers till the 3rd round. We've got 2 picks in the 3rd. I wonder whether we might package that 3rd, our last 3rd and a 4th, and try and jump up somewhere along the line, even if it's to move further forward in the 2nd or something like that. Because I think we could. There looks like a couple of really decent guys we could pick up there in positions of need, which they always say draft best player available, which obviously didn't work when we got Vernon Butler. But we could do that. Move forward. Package the 3rd and 4th.
I caught that.
I don't think we need Matt. I know we need a lot of positions, but I think 2 decent players. Anyway, enough of that. There's only one free agent available, which is Trey Flowers. And I'm with Cody. I'd be all in on Trey Flowers. I think if we've got whatever we've got left and give it to him, if you did that, you could then go O-line in the 1st and get a safety in the 2nd. Anyway, enough prattling on. I don't know what you've talked about, so I'm going to be in bed when the show's on and I'll have to listen to you tomorrow. Anyway, take care, everyone. Keep pounding.
Great call from Rich, man.
Let me pause it. Let me pause it. Let me pause it. Pause. G.
Hold up, G.
Hold up, G.
So
There we go.
Listen, me and Rich are buddy on Twitter. Man, we talk about draft stuff, everything. So he's kind of on my same wavelength too. You heard him say Eric McCoy. And that's another center that I think would be available for us in the second round. So maybe if you did pass on a Garrett Bradbury, it makes it better if you take the center from Texas A&M in the draft. I would love that. But I did want to show you guys one of the people that he mentioned. He's a guy by the name of Juan Thornhill. He's the safety out of West Virginia. And look how high.
They ought to be proud there.
44-inch vertical.
44 inches.
That dude is insane. He had an 11.9 long jump.
Wow.
I mean, this dude has the athletic profile to be able to do everything that you want him to do at the next level. And if we're going to put Eric in the box, which is what we pretty much all want to do, you want a free safety that can roam the backfield and be able to come up and make a tackle when necessary. And I mean, for my money, Thornhill does just that. All you have to do is look at some of his film. I mean, the man is a thumper. Juan Thornhill plays deep, and he comes down and just makes a beautiful tackle to stop the run. I mean, this is the type of player that plays sideline to sideline, always makes the quarterback think twice about where he is on the field. Juan Thornhill is right now, he's my favorite pick in the second round. I would love for us to have him. And he had a day at the combine. And, and Tony and I were talking about this. A free safety might have the most impact day one on the Panthers team next year. And that might be the dude.
I do believe this is that if you drafted, say you were able to draft a elite tackle, the Jonah Williams in the first, there is at the same time the learning curve he is going to experience in the NFL. You see top 5 offensive tackles struggle in their first year. Maybe they're mediocre, right? But if this is the top talent and he's not even a top 5, I think of the guy that the Falcons picked. Hell, I think of Matt Khalil. And that there could be a learning curve. And so if they are not dominant from day one, you understand. But I believe that a rookie free safety has the ability to really make an impact in the game that takes an offensive lineman like a tackle or a defensive end time to learn the game. So while it may not be the best long-term pick in some cases, the immediate value you get by adding someone who is dominant beside Eric Reed could be really helpful. And then you add this. Imagine this dream scenario. You sign Trey Flowers. You trade back in the first. You get a guard, you get the guard and the center that you've been talking about. You get 3 back-to-back picks right there. Or hell, you just get the guard, not the guard, the center. Who's the guy from State that everybody
Bradbury, Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah, you get him, you bring in Trey Flowers, maybe, or Jonah Williams all of a sudden, and then you add a balling ass free safety in the second. All of a sudden, that's an impact move right there. That's an impact year. That's a change the game type year.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And then, if you now Trey Flowers, man, that would be the ultimate signing for us. Because then we can do what you said, man. We can grab an Andre Dillard. We can grab a Garrett Bradbury. We can let the board come to us,
Amen.
Yeah. And
Thank you. That's what Dave Gettleman said, but never did.
Yeah. And when they did, it wasn't the right pick. So yeah, I'm 100% that way. And maybe I even have some other clips on here from players that, I mean, my favorite picks in this draft, they're not even players that they're not even linemen, offensive linemen or defensive linemen. I just feel that we have such a need on the offensive line and for another edge rusher that those are the positions that we need to address first. But yeah, I mean, both of the LSU players, Devin White, the linebacker.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up if that's our pick. And Joey, I have to go to Joey on this. Do you remember that year that we picked Luke Kuechly?
Mm-hmm.
We had John Beeson, we had Thomas Davis, and we were both. Joey was in love with a player. Do you remember who it was? And I followed suit. I felt rank and file with you. He's a cornerback.
Oh, it was a defensive back, right?
Yeah. It was Maurice Claiborne.
Oh, that's right.
And we were like smitten with him. And then Marty Herney goes and picks a damn linebacker, and we're like, what the hell? I understand Luke Kuechly went and became amazeballs. But there's only so many Luke Kuechlys in the world. If we draft a freaking linebacker, oh my God, I'm going to go crazy.
We're not drafting a linebacker.
If we do, oh my God. I don't care if we draft one in the whole fucking draft, but in the first round, I'm going to lose my mind.
Definitely not doing it in the first round.
I mean, listen,
I'm going to lose my mind.
You don't have to tell me, because I know where the needs of this team are. I'm just saying, if you put Devin White next to Luke, oh my God, dude, no team is ever going to run the football on us ever again, dude.
Well, what the hell are we going to do with Shaq? If we do that, we better not pay him $9 million. We better not pay him. You better cut his ass tomorrow. Thanks, James Woodley, for your support of the C3 Panthers podcast. You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast live every Tuesday night. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to smash the thumbs up button. A ton of people watching. Come on, if you haven't smashed the thumbs up button on YouTube, I'm looking at 10 of y'all. I'm looking at y'all. Do you want to draft Devin White? Do you? You thumbs downers? Do you want a thumbs up to him? I would be. Come on, what do you do? All right, Cody, I understand. In theory, we do have to talk about this for one moment before we move on. You can't do that with Shaq Thompson on the freaking roster, can you?
Listen, man, whatever, dude. I'm saying Devin White, I've looked at his film. I looked at what he does. I looked at his potential. The man at 237 pounds. Remember, this is a position where your 40 time matters, okay? The man ran a 4.42 at 237 pounds. That's another sideline to sideline linebacker to put next to Luke. I'm telling you, man, what everyone was saying Roquan Smith was last year, I thought Roquan Smith was an overrated player coming out of Georgia. Devin White is the real deal, man. I'm telling you, Devin White is the real deal. And if you remember how dominant Thomas Davis was and Luke in their prime when they were both firing on all cylinders, that duo would have the potential to be even better. Now, I'm not saying that that's what we need to do.
Do you cut him? Do you cut Shaq Thompson after the draft? Because I believe there is still time to make moves before the calendar year after the draft. I may be wrong on this, but if we can go into the draft thinking we have Shaq Thompson, we're going to pay him $9 million, but if Devin White hits, we cut him the next day. That's possible. If you draft him there, do you keep Shaq Thompson at $9 million, but then have the same freaking ordeal that we have had for the last 4 years?
I mean, it depends. Are we going to have 3 linebackers on the field, or are we going to have 2 and do more of the nickel look?
Well, we don't know. We haven't been able to figure that out when we've had 3 really good linebackers. That's been the problem. We've had Kuechly, we've had Davis, and we've had Shaq, who has potential. You can't say that we want to run 2 line. They try to force 3 linebackers onto the field. It seems like this is that if you draft this kid, Joe, I'm going to go to Joe on this. You cannot keep Shaq Thompson at $9 million.
Well, you mean you can't spend the money on him?
No, I mean, at this point, you've got him in that 5th-year option. You would have to say we're turning it loose. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Sorry we didn't use you well. Sorry, it's our fault. But you cannot have a 2 first-round picks, and one of them just getting starting time in his 5th year, and the other one getting part-time in his 1st year. That seems ludicrous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think it's too big of an investment at linebacker. So you would have to cut ties with your starter and play the
Shaq Thompson, a $9 million. Yeah. And it's sad. This is sad. It's sad that Shaq Thompson has been. Look, we've got. I tell you one thing. You want to be critical about Marty Hurney, but you want to be critical of Dave Gettleman. Let's talk about his 1st-round picks. Marty Hurney does not miss in the 1st. And people say, oh, well, you shouldn't miss in the 1st. Dave Gettleman has. Dave Gettleman has drafted Vernon Butler. He's drafting Kelvin Benjamin. And honestly, unless Shaq Thompson comes out and is the beast mode this year, he is a miss at this point. And I don't like to say that because I own his jersey. I don't want to root against him. But if we're already talking about picking a linebacker over him, and he hasn't even had the opportunity to show it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see it happening, man. I just do not see it happening. We have too many pressing needs at other positions.
If we pick a linebacker, oh my God, I'm going to vomit on the show. We will be live. I will vomit.
How good he is. Just, we need more help in other places.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that logic. It's just in a perfect world, like I said, we would be able to just let the board come to us and draft the best linebacker or Greedy Williams and put him next to Dante Jackson. Oh my God, I would love that as another dominant outside corner. I have footage of him if y'all want to see too. But yeah, no, I agree though. We need to fix some pressing needs on the offensive line, and I think all of us are in unison, man. We need to fix this offensive line with some premium talent, and that's what I hope we do.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna get to the second call tonight. I know that G. Cavassier is on the line. Joey Esquivel asked this on YouTube, and it's something we have addressed in previous podcasts, but I do think it's an important question. He says, what about the possibility of switching to a 3-4 defense? Is that a real thing? Who would we need to keep and get rid of if that was the case? Now, as we're in the midst of the draft talk, the question is he asked a very important question that has been raised by some people, I think overblown by the media. I think the media has fanned the fire on it. But do you truly believe the Panthers could be considering moving to a 3-4 defense, or is it just the integration of those looks, which that's what I believe? And Cody, how does that affect the draft status going forward? My concern and my thoughts is that if I was Marty Herney, it's not time to make a philosophical shift going forward.
Well, listen, man, this is what I'll say. If we're looking to make a 3-4, and by the way, it's not really up for question right now. Ron Rivera has done an interview with the guy that works for the Panthers now. Used to run Black and Blue Review, Bill Vogt. Yeah, Bill Vogt. I mean, he was in an interview with him, and he said so many words. He said that we're going to be looking at putting some 3-4 fronts out on the field. Now, he said it's not going to be our primary formation, but he wants to be able to have the versatility to show offensive lines and just the offense in general a different look. So how that changes us up is one of the best pass rushers in the draft, a guy from Florida State by the name of Brian Burns. He's an undersized defensive end, but man, he's productive. He has insane athletics, and I love him in that outside linebacker kind of role, but he put his hand in the dirt at Florida State. So that's a player that is very position versatile that we might be able to hit on in the first round that would be able to help us right now, no matter what front we're in. So Brian Burns is a name to look out for. Also think about this. Mario Addison is an underweight defensive end. He used to be an outside linebacker. Dontari Poe used to be a straight-up nose tackle. So, I mean, that's what he's used to doing. So we already have a lot of the pieces in place to be able to make this happen. We just have to add some pieces in the draft that are going to be able to do that are position versatile.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. I see you 44 people watching. Only 28 thumbs up on YouTube.
45.
45. Oh, yep. I saw it jump up. There you go. Come on, baby. I'm encouraging you to support Panther Nation and grow it together with us, because each and every week we have one of the richest discussions when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. I'll tell you this, where are you going to find a place that goes more than an hour or two and knows this team in and out, features your calls, your comments. So all I'm asking is this, for your support of subscription, a thumbs up, and to tell a friend about the show, because my friend G. Cavassier has got to tell us. He's got to tell us something. He called the Cat Calls line. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, Panther Podcast, how y'all doing? This is G. Cavassier. It's going to be short and simple. I know y'all seen the Twitter feed, man. Eric Weddle, is a free agent. Damn it, if Carolina don't pull the trigger and try to get this damn dude, I wanted him once he left San Diego, if y'all remember. When he left San Diego, I wanted him to come to the Panthers then, for some way, somehow. David Tepper, do what you got to do. Bring his ass to damn Carolina. If he don't come to Carolina, let's try to get Landon Collins out of New York. Either way, either Collins or Weddle would boost our daggone secondary so damn much. I swear it would. So you guys give me your thought on that.
Cody, I will say this, is that I think that Collins no longer is the guy since we signed Reed. Fit-wise and all of that. Now, Weddle could be a helpful addition. I don't know if we're ready to allocate that money at this point, and I would have been remarkably excited about that 3 years ago.
Yeah, so, I mean, to what G was saying about Eric Weddle, I don't mind Eric Weddle, the player, but if we're cutting Thomas Davis and we're cutting these players that are older, it kind of seems redundant. I mean, I don't know what y'all think. I just think that in a time where we're making a concerted effort to get younger, then, I don't really know how that fits. But, I mean, Ron Rivera has played with him before. He's an Eric Weddle guy. Yeah, they have a relationship with each other.
Has he been in the league that long?
Yeah, they were in San Diego together.
Really?
Yeah. So
Weddle is old. I didn't realize Weddle was that old.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know if he has some playing time left in. Look, I'll say this: if we sign Eric Weddle, I'm not mad at the pick. I'm not, and especially if he has some ball left in him. I'm not mad at it. At the same time, I don't have the same enthusiasm as G
we
does.
would be upset. We would be upset if that interfered with other signings.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is that Weddle in a vacuum is no problem. Joey.
Too old. And people going on name recognition, not thinking about playing ability or fit for the scheme. I just, he was very good at one time, but that was 5 years ago. Now
he was pretty. I think he's been one of the better players in Baltimore on their defense. But Joey, this is what I got a problem with: is any person that overdoes their facial hair. goes too far. It's like I gotta make my facial hair a thing. It irritates me because I cannot grow any facial hair. So to you, I'm like kind of like you want to be cool. Like you think you're so cool because you can grow a beard and I can't.
You want mine? I'll donate to some. I have a caveman beard, dude.
I can't grow shit, man. I look like I'm jealous.
Mine grows in too much, man. I look like that.
Old ass with his old ass beard. He can keep it, Joe. All right. Well, I do think. All right. So those are the cat calls. You're listening to C3 Panthers podcast. There are a couple more things I want to talk about when it comes to the combine. Just quickly, I know Cody watched it intensely. This is Joey. I think you'll find this interesting. Is that we have been running the website and the podcast for a while now. We had Mel Mayock on for a long time. Very interested in the draft. Made us more interested, you and I, in the draft, in the process than we naturally were. I feel we published Draft Guide. You know what I'm saying? Like I was editing all this crap I didn't know anything about, to be honest. I'm watching all of this, but and this was the first year I go on the radio with Clip. The very first year we did that, I went on the radio. He was like, "Man, you're really into this," and I was like, "Gosh, I'm not really, but I'm trying to be." But every year I've been less and less interested in the combine. Cody is super interested in the combine. So we got to ask him this, is that as you watched all those men in underwear going, there's a lot of storylines coming out there. What are the major, what did you come away with that you want to talk about? And if it's DJ Metcalf, I'm going to go crazy.
Well, it's DK Metcalf.
See, I don't even know my man's name. That's fine.
I do not want to talk about him.
I'm not even interested. Yeah, I'm not even interested.
Listen, at 228 pounds, 1.6% body fat, this dude ran a 4.33. Dude, are you insane, man? Listen, this dude is on.
That mug is on steroids.
Not only is he on steroids, this dude is on every steroid that has ever crossed the Mexican border, dude. Every one of them, man. Listen.
Do you have the picture of him with the other group of players?
I do not have that photo right now, but I mean, hell, just look at it. The dude is a monster. The dude is Superman. I mean,
oh my God, he looks like he should be playing defensive end or outside linebacker. He is so big.
Dude, Metcalf is a monster, dude. And a lot of people...
27 reps on the bench press?
27 reps on the bench
It's
press.
like 5 more than your best offensive lineman.
Jumped a
Pick your short arm ass. Pick your short arm ass, whatever his name was, and he can't.
Yeah, dude, Jonah Williams did 23 on the bench press, and he's out here doing 27 of them. Oh my god, dude! And then everyone on Twitter.
I'm telling you, man's on drugs.
Oh yeah, he's on all the drugs.
I don't think you can do it. There's something going on there.
And it's not healthy.
So he said, there's something going on there. We don't know what it is. But my question to you on this, and I'll start with Cody and then I'll go to Joe, is that, like, yes, all of that, the 40 number, amazing. The size, insanity. I don't even want to go to the rabbit hole of it being like conspiracy and he's on drugs. Can we be overly wowed by a 40 number? I think Sammy Coates. I fell in love with Sammy Coates and that white kid that went
from West Virginia, went to Chicago.
Yeah. I just was starstruck and smitten by these guys. I feel like this is that if he was this badass, kind of would have little known about him more at this point.
So, Rex Smith says he looks like he's been on that prison workout regimen. That's 100%. He's been on that D-block regime. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, he had a neck injury when he was in college, so he missed the back half of the season. But yeah, he would mainly run hitches and curls and 9 routes, just haul ass up the field. Pretty much what Ted again used to do for us. I mean, and if you're drafting him, you're not drafting Julio Jones. You're drafting Des Bryant. You're drafting a big body physical receiver, and it's going to be hard for defensive backs to move him out the way or do anything with him barreling up the field.
They can't do shit against him.
Yeah, I mean, you're just. I mean, in theory, that's the perfect wide receiver for a healthy Cam Newton,
like a Michael Irvin,
all downfield. Yeah, Megatron is another name I've heard, but he was a far more versatile wide receiver than Metcalf.
And Megatron caught everything like in his district.
Yeah. AJ was the man. But I don't know. I mean, maybe in a different universe, I don't mind that pick for the Panthers, but certainly not right now. Does
that help the Panthers, though? A guy like him crawling up the boards even more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then they're even talking about Kyler Murray, that even though the Cardinals just drafted Josh Rosen, they might take Kyler Murray with the number 1 pick in the draft. So anytime you have a scenario like that happening, that's pushing players down towards where we draft. I mean, that's a perfect scenario for us. So, yeah, is it Metcalf or Montez Sweat? It doesn't matter. It's pushing better players down to where we pick. So it's not a bad thing for that to happen.
All right, Cody, you watched this combine more closely than I did, and I'm betting more closely than both Joe and I did.
Yeah.
You tell us, what are your takeaways overall? What stands out in relationship to the Carolina Panthers on your mind after watching 4 days of people doing exercise drills?
So my takeaway from this past weekend of the combine is, in a year where the Panthers need defensive line help and offensive line help, there could not be a better draft for it, man. You're talking about players through rounds 1, 2, and 3. Like, I'm talking to you all about the more well-known players, but there are players I've never even mentioned before that might be day 2 or day 3 prospects for us that are in contention to help this team I mean, there are players for us to be able to bolster both sides of the football right now. Me and Joey are biased. All the Clemson defensive linemen I would love on our team, and not just because I'm a biased fan. They're awesome football players that would help us out. Offensive linemen on the interior, the exterior, centers. I mean, you name it, man. Build the trenches here in Carolina. And that's what we need to be focused on and doing moving into the draft. And I'm happy as hell, man.
All right, fantastic. All right, so we're expecting free agency on the horizon. We have talked about 1 week away, Joey.
Yep.
Joey, I will ask you this: do you expect the Panthers to be active in free agency?
I do expect them to make a couple of moves. I do believe that they plan on using free agency to set up their draft. I think they're going to go into free agency knowing what pieces they would like to add, and then it's just being a matter of finding the right financial formula to get those pieces in place.
Joey's echoing a comment made by Dave Gettleman in the past that he would say but never did, which is you use free agency to set up the draft, because while the mantra is best player available, at the same time you have needs. You have real holes. You have real opportunities to make yourself better in the draft. And free agency is a way to position yourself there. And if we could, that is what I want to see the Carolina Panthers do, is make a decisive move. It's not about money. It's about decision and direction going forward, and to set the tone of what we're trying to do rather than
money to some degree.
Say that again?
You have to be careful.
Sure. But I would like to see the Panthers make a move that says it's a tone setting thing. And that it gives us the latitude or the freedom to pick off a center. Here's the thing, is that if you pick a center in the first round pick and you didn't go get a defensive end in free agency, we're going to argue incessantly over. Yeah. But doesn't it give it a much more direction when you do that, and then you have used free agency to set that up, to make that possible, to get you that freedom? So that's where I'm at that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We've got one more segment to do. We've got to do our ice up picks of the week. Who's ready to go first? Because I have been struggling.
I'll let y'all go.
Joe.
I am.
Yes. Joe, the old hat comes in.
No. I'm not quite there yet.
Oh, he's not ready. All right. I will jump in. My old hat will jump in. Let me see. I've got to pick up. Who do I got to pick up? This cat. And this was mean. I felt like this. I got on Twitter. I said something mean to somebody. And his tweet was accurate. So supposedly now, Charlie Casserole. You guys call him Charlie Casarelli. I call him Charlie Casserole. Has said, I hate this dude. He used to be a GM of the Houston Texans. Supposedly, he is well thought of in the NFL world. But I hate Charlie Casserole because at one point, he said that the Carolina Panthers should draft